for their colonial interests. Of course, they have to cover up everything with the human rights arguments. So, because of these trials in Istanbul and the mindset that emerged during that period, is that a belief in Turkey very strongly, democratization, freedom of thought and speech, open and frank about history, acknowledgement of one's past historic misdeeds could be a threat to a national security. This is the connection that they bring in, the concept of national security. Those who invite the society, like myself, to engage in an open examination of the past are therefore labeled as traitors and made targets of smear campaigns and are dragged into court and prosecuted under Turkish Criminal Code Article 301 for insulting Turkishness. And it is this kind of mindset that was behind Hrant Dink's assassination also. However, now my conclusion. Reviewing Turkish history from this perspective reveals four important new perspectives for us. This is today's now, my connection with today's development. Number one, as you see, the Turkish nationalist movement was talking openly on massacres and killings of Armenians. And they openly condemned the crime of 1915. This is totally different than the denial policy of today. It's an interesting point. So this is then my appeal to Turkish government that I use very often. Please start where your founding fathers stopped. Start there where your founding father called 1915 as a shameful act. Did follow his footsteps, it would be a great beginning for us today. If they start calling 1915 as a shameful act, as their nationalist founding fathers did 1920, would be a great step to the reconciliation process. So this could be a good beginning. This is the number one. Secondly, until now, the Turkish-Armenian problem has been perceived basically within the old paradigm: ethnic conflict, collapse of Ottoman Empire, and clash of different ethnic national groups over land and boundaries. So my appeal here, we should now change our discourse, our way of talking about history. We should now, what we call in our scholarly word, replace the Turkish-Armenian conflict in the transitional justice. This means we have to consider Armenian genocide as a historic injustices, human rights abuses in the past, and we have to deal with these historic injustices to democratize the region, to democratize Turkey and Armenia, and both countries should consider as an opportune moment to talk about this past in order to develop a new future. So we have to develop a new discourse, a new way of talking on an historic problem. Not anymore a problem of ethnic conflict on the territories and boundaries. Third result that I am drawing from my analysis, Turkish national security must be revised and changed. Because the main flaw of Turkish national security concept is, it is perception that the promotion of basic democratic rights, such as equality under the law, social reform, and the freedom of speech are a threat to national security. It is a wrong national security concept. In the past, as you know, the emergence of so-called Armenian question was the result of Armenian demands, actually, for equality and social reform. In the 19th century, the Christians and the Armenians, they were asking only two things: equality and social justice. And their demand, which would lead to a better democratic Ottoman society, it was considered by Ottoman rulers as a threat to their national security, and this was the main reason for the genocidal decision. So, the irony is here following. The irony is criminalizing historic inquiries for national security reasons is not only a huge obstacle on the path to democracy, but also is counterproductive and leads directly to the real security problem of the country. Look, the Kurdish question in Turkey today. Kurdish question is a serious security problem for Turkey, because Turkey considers the democratic rights and the demands of the Kurds as a threat to their national security. And because Turkey considers the Kurdish demand for equality and social justice as a security concept, a security threat, they created their own security problem. So this is what we call actually self-fulfilling prophecy. They created what they really feared. This is the result of Turkish way of approaching to social demand of the minorities and other peoples. So instead of, this means considering the Kurdish demand as a national security problem, Turkey should change that giving the right to the Kurds guarantee the national security of Turkey. This is the way that we should really approach to the Kurdish question. So as long as Turkey continues to regard moral principles, one of which is facing history and historic injustices, and national security as two opposing poles that are mutually exclusive, and refuses to come to terms with the past for national security reasons, indeed, as long as Turkey's national security is defined in opposition to an honest historic reckoning, further problems will be created in the region. And there is, the last point is what is going on in the Middle East today and direct link to the Middle East. This is my last point, why Turkey should change its attitude towards Armenian genocide. Because a non-democratic, authoritarian Turkey creates more, and a Turkey that denies Armenian genocide creates more of a security problem than it solves. So my argument is not a moral argument, that because of the moral issues Turkey acknowledges historic wrongdoings. No, in order to create a secure Middle East, security in the Middle East, Turkey should change its denialist position. Why? Because one of the main reasons, one of the main problems in the region is the insecurity felt by different groups towards each other as a result of events that have occurred in history. Today, Kurds don't trust Turks because of the history. Arabs don't trust Turks because of the history. Armenians in Damascus, in Aleppo, in Lebanon don't trust Turks because of the history. So Turkey's denialist arguments for the Middle East is actually a security threat for Armenia, for Arabs, for Kurds, because any Arab, Armenian, Kurds in the region would say, oh my God, they deny, they would do that again. Because denying historic wrongdoings is potentially, the potentiality to repeat it again. So Turkey's denialist policy is a security threat in the Middle East. This is what I say. So instead of helping those who deny past injustices and make this denying a part of their security concept, our policy in the Middle East should integrate an honest confrontation with history into a policy of national interest in the Middle East. So, this is my last word. You cannot solve any problem in the Middle East without addressing historic wrongdoings, because history is not something in the past. The past is present in the Middle East. I believe that we will enter a new era in the Middle East now, where morality and realpolitik will not be considered mutually exclusive. Morality is an indispensable part of realpolitik, and Turkey's acknowledgement of Armenian genocide is crucial for democratization and security in the Middle East. Thank you very much for this.
Taner Akçam, thank you very much. I took notes, nearly 3